Hey guys, what is up? Hope y'all are having a good morning. We have a visitor that's going to be coming on with us today. A creator who I have really just become to like. I just absolutely love their stuff. Whether it's chilly today, but yeah, we're going to have Kyler on here today. Kyler, not Tyler, who's had so much phenomenal information in regard to this case. They should be here momentarily. Just waiting on here. So, yeah. No, well, we had some flooding the other night, but not so much, today. Oh, thank you. I think Pure Heart, I would say she's more so because, like, when it comes to this case, or they've got so much. Yeah. How's your dog? Man, Scully, thank you for asking. It's weird. So Zoe will collapse and then they'll be fine later. It's very struggling. She's got another appointment with the vet today that we have to. Keek, you did catch a live. I'm proud of you. Oh, thank you, Pure Heart. I appreciate that too. Thank you for caring about this case. I can't believe you're sticking up for JP. Yeah, we have a lot to talk about when it comes. The Blue Devil is talking about me today. Let him talk about me. That's fine. Hey, no press is bad press. No press is bad press. Let him do it. I don't speak about other creators. To me, I think that that's a very, you just don't do it. He's making me famous. I mean, he's got like 200 something thousand followers. I'm almost at 1.4 million. So I'm not really, if you want to send it, sure. Is it going to make me angry? Because if you're going to make me angry, then don't. But if not, whatever. I try not to watch his content because I just don't like it. Yeah, it's not productive. Do you think JP is going to actually be held accountable? No, not at least not for murder or anything like that. I think there will be a wrongful death suit filed against him. Yes. It's kind of funny. All right, yeah. It's you know what it is. I'm okay. I don't talk about it, but since we brought it up, it's nothing about him or his content. It's the way he wears his hat that I can't stand it. Oh my god. I don't know. There's something about it for whatever reason. It's just like one of those things. Like put your hat backwards, put it forwards, but this off to the side thing. Stop it, dude. Just wear your hat right. Like I know I sound like a boomer when I say that, but like Jesus Christ, it's not a good look. Anyways. Wasn't really talking bad about him. I'll speak generically about people. Somebody asked about him. I said, I can't stand what he's watching. So, or what he's saying. I said that, I might say he's standing JP, but that's not negative. That's his right to do so. Hey there.
What's up?
What's up? How are you this morning?
Oh, I'm busy.
I'm sure you are.
There we go. Okay. I still don't know what the fuck I'm doing with this thing. There we go.
Hey, I don't either, and I'm 3 years in.
What did I miss? What did I miss?
No, they were apparently Blue Devil or whatever made a video about me, and that now I was like, I don't care. Let them make a video about me. I don't care. Maybe a video about Kyler too.
And I'm not here to talk about. I don't even want to talk about that, to be honest, because it's so irrelevant.
No, it's kind of productive.
I'm posting facts and evidence that are all public record. It's very clear that he is getting sent things that probably JP may have sent to him or someone close to JP. And every case has one of those people, And
there's somebody's going to stand the, for lack of a better term, villain. Okay?
Yeah.
For lack of a better term. I'm not saying that JP Miller is the villain. I'm just using it as a generic,
Yeah, and the thing about all of these, I'm sure that he's not the only one, right?
No.
Like shit talking, but the difference between me and everyone else is that they're not working with a private investigator and I am. So, I mean, you guys can believe what you want, but.
Well, here's the thing. Like you said, there's people who stand Brian Laundrie. There's people who stand Brian Koberger. there's always going to be those people, and it's fine. Here's the thing. I'm very okay with people having a difference of opinion of me, even, being for the other people. Like, the whole, like, with Sebastian Rogers, the whole people who stand Seth Rogers versus those who stand Chris and Katie Proudfoot, it's become a very volatile war almost between those. And it's always going to be that way. And I think it can make for healthy discussion if done properly.
Right. You can disagree. I mean, I don't agree with everyone in the world, but I'm not going to do it disrespectfully, nor am I going to, you know, question all of the proof that is now circulating. I
Yeah.
mean, like that's just ignorant in my opinion. But let's talk about the facts. Let's move on because
Yeah.
I don't want to give him any more
I
attention.
agree. I agree. Can we start with this generic C and D? People are saying no sound. If you're not hearing sound, scroll back out and come back in. Everybody else, I think, can hear it. I might just be a couple of y'all. So just go back out. Um, do you let's talk about that. I'm sure you've read his generic cease and desist, right? So
Yeah,
first of all, I don't think that's legal.
it's not.
Um,
And so the interesting thing about all of that is you cannot sue someone for discussing public record, and everything I have
correct.
posted is public record or has been obtained completely legally through the PI that I'm working with. So, also, it's already getting removed from like pages and the church page and everything. So, I mean, it was just, it was an attempt to scare people. But I encourage everyone to research their rights and practice those rights.
Hmm.
Um,
I would
and
agree.
nothing is going to silence us. And also, like he can't sue half the world. I mean, it's not just the U.S. anymore. It's not just me anymore. It's everyone. Pretty much everyone in the world knows what's going on
For
at this.
somebody who's so worried about his reputation, it really wasn't the best move for him optically.
No.
And his lawyer, the fact that his lawyer would post this as a general statement, I'm going to guess that this lawyer must be part of the church. I'm not going to say that. It's just a guess. I'm not making any like
Yeah,
accusations
yeah,
there.
I'm not sure either.
But I'm not sure. But I would imagine because like I didn't go to law school, and I know that you can't. You have to serve that person with a C and D. There has to be a way that you can
Yeah,
prove that they received it,
right.
and it's not proof that everybody's going to read mainstream media. I mean, we're talking about, so it's obviously we've read it, but again, like you said, you can't if it's public record, which is pretty
Right.
much what we've been talking about this entire time. Like we're not sitting here like making up some like JP, went and got a laser gun and from Charleston, South Carolina, figured out like we're not making these outlandish theories. We're going off of multiple back and forth reports.
Right.
But what I have to say on this one is obviously we know JP didn't write this particular thing. Did come from a lawyer because it was written like an adult, first of all, and second of all he didn't use so with like 6 to 9 O's. But you would think that an attorney would know better than to do something like that because the optics on that attorney is just here. Like now, if I lived in that area and I saw something like that, I wouldn't utilize that attorney
Right.
solely for
And
the fact, you know?
yeah. Yeah, if it was even real, I mean, it could have not even been real. I mean, there's lots of questions about that, just like there's lots of questions about everything else coming out. And if you guys have seen my most recent posts within the last like 24 hours, and the News Nation video, the interview with her sister and the attorney, there's lots of questions in there in the comments about all of this that I really want to touch on if that's okay.
Yeah.
Um,
But be my guest.
so
That's why I have you on here because I get to learn directly from you and they get to learn directly from you. And somebody asks if it's going to be on YouTube. I normally don't take my TikTok lives and put them on YouTube, but I'm probably going to put this one on YouTube.
yes, so I
While you talking.
I am and have been for the last week or so working with a private investigator, and I'm not going to say the name of that private investigator or where they're located, but that's why I know so much information. And also, I know so much information because of the people that I know back home. And if you would like to follow all of my previous videos, everything that I have been sharing about has started coming out as the truth. So if you're questioning my credibility, you don't really have to at this point, but I understand if you still want to. And the News Nation video that aired last night at 10 p.m. Eastern, Mica's sister was on there, and so was the lawyer. And so the lawyer relayed how she has boxes and boxes of journals that JP has been trying to call and get from them. They touched a lot on the abuse. They touched a lot on how she was brainwashed for so long. And the facts at this point are that JP originally did not want the family to see her body, which is what I was told, several days ago, and that he afterwards changed his mind if the parents would sign a cremation certification.
I heard that, so I'm glad you're confirming that.
Yeah, it was on News Nation straight from the family. So I'm not sure why the family would lie about their sister, right? I mean, so first of all, why are you insisting on a cremation? Second of all, the Robeson County medical investigator told the family themselves that there was no autopsy done. There was no toxicology report done. They did not check for water in her lungs. And they did not check for weapon residue on her body. All of which I already knew, but I have not released because
you couldn't get confirmation, I assume.
Yes. So that happened. That was 100% real. You can go Google the interview. I don't think the full interview is up just yet, but there are bits and pieces floating around. It's all true. It's all fact. And they also spoke about how JP's ex, that everyone has had questions about, and again, this was on the public news. She has come forward and is now working with Mica's family on exposing him for the abuse over the years that he put her through as well. So that's kind of where we're at, and we're getting more and more every day. How am I working with the PI? I stumbled into it. This PI is licensed, has their own company, and found my TikTok videos and saw the way that I was presenting the facts and gathering the facts. And at first, they were hesitant about bringing me on because they don't work with people normally. But now I have somehow become part of the team, and I am gathering a lot of information for this case. So
I'm going to take you one step further. You have become the top social media creator on this case. Honestly.
Have I?
Yeah.
How do you even see that stuff? I still have
you
no
don't see that stuff.
idea.
You just know. Well, you just know because when I'm doing a live, okay. First of all, at my level, I'm getting my information from you. Okay. So, when I'm in a live like this by myself, people are like, have you seen Kyler's new video? Have you seen Kyler's new video? Have you seen? People are talking about you in the Mica Miller groups. You have your page. You have, and I mean, and you, because everything that you posted has been reliable, and it's great. Which is why, number one, I love that you're willing to keep coming on and talking with me, and keeping up to date, because your voice has been amazing. Yeah, and somebody said, actually, what they just said is right. Let's rephrase this. You're being Mica's voice in such a strong and powerful way. And I think it's amazing what you're doing. And I totally stand you on this. And in fact, I will tell everybody in here, if you don't follow Kyler already and you want updates on this case, especially, go follow them. They're a great creator, and they've never, Kyler's never created before this. And
No.
and just like came out the box swinging, man. Like you just did.
Yeah.
It's been phenomenal content. Like the growth that you've had is
Yeah.
very well deserved.
Um,
Um,
yeah, and I want to touch on that a little bit more because I know there are always new people coming in and out. If I mean, you can go to my TikTok and see that I have no video. I have one video of my dog wagging its tail before all of this. I swore I would not even download TikTok. Okay, like
that's smart.
I have a lot of loved ones who love TikTok, and people would always tell me like how great it was and stuff, and I was like, I'm not interested. I don't want anything to do with it. And I started posting on Facebook before I came here, and I saw a lot of like misinformation circulating TikTok, and I was like, oh hell no! Like, let me go on there and set the record straight because like I have information that these people don't. And I have also said in pretty much every live and interview that I've done so far about how um, I've been very authentic about the fact that I hadn't spoken to Micah in a long time, but we were friends in middle school. And I feel like this is something that I am supposed to do. I feel like it's something that I'm called to do. And I don't really have the answer as to why. I'm just following my heart and following my gut. And again, everything that I have posted about has come out as true or as public record, and I only post the facts, even if people question it and it's not come out yet. At this point, I'm posting what I have permission to post, and that's it.
Yeah.
I
Protecting
do
your
not post.
sources, protecting anonymity for people. You're protecting your sources. You're protecting
Yes.
anonymity for these people. You're doing everything correct. And if I may say too, sorry I know I interrupted. For
No,
people
it's
who
fine.
want to think something on this too, as a person who's been doing this for a long time, social media creator, I know what it takes behind the scenes to do this work. I know that she's doing a significant amount of work behind the scenes, and she's not even eligible for the creator fund at this point.
No, I'm not.
So she's literally doing all of this like completely pro bono, like not even a dime off of it. So I just want
Yes,
to just make
and
sure that we point that out.
yeah, and the private investigator that we're working with is also doing this pro bono. So no money is being made off of this. And I really don't want that. That's not, I don't, I've been very uncomfortable with the fact that half the world knows who I am now, and knows my face and my name because that's not the type of person I am. I normally like to lay low. But every day, like I'm risking a lot. I'm risking my safety. I'm risking my reputation. Like everywhere. And but when you feel like you're supposed to do something, you do it. And I have a lot of loved ones that have been victims of abuse and religious abuse and all the things that Mica unfortunately was a victim of. And during this process of investigating her death, I have found a lot more on the Miller family and their associates, and this case is going to be continuing for a very long time because there are things that go beyond just Mica at this point, and that's our main focus right now. But this is going to be a very long case, with a lot of moving parts and a lot of puzzle pieces that have to be put together. And I have people coming at me from all over the world and all over the US that want to help, that are helping me gather information, helping me gather facts, telling me their stories. And it's really, at this point, it's a movement. It's not even just justice for Mica, which again, that's my main focus, but I intend to continue focusing on the victims that are still here too, of this family, because there are so many that are still here that have not been able to have a voice.
And there's a couple of things I want to address. But first, I saw a comment here that says, "Have you seen the videos of Micah acting crazy?" I've not seen those, but here's what I can tell you without seeing those. Okay, and I'm very very confident in what I'm about to say because of having grown up in a narcissistic. I grew up in a narcissistic household, toxic household. There is something called reactive abuse, meaning that when you are abused to the point that you just snap, That is what they want you to do. One thing that a lot of abusive men, and again, I'm not accusing anybody. I'm giving you a very generic statement. So if JP Miller's lawyer's watching, if he thinks it's about him, it's projection on himself. But it's reactive abuse. And what that means is they push it. And if it's being recorded, that's very convenient, don't you think? Because what they do is they'll paint you as being crazy in your, in your life. Even in this C&D that they made, sorry, someone tried to. Okay, sorry, reading somebody said I misread it. Even in the C&D that was put out by the lawyer, they made sure every chance he gets that he has a chance to do it, he makes sure to reference her mental health. He's trying to paint this picture that she was mentally unwell. The first thing I'm going to say is she didn't have any mental diagnoses until after she married him. Okay, the same year that they got married is the same year she was diagnosed. Kind of convenient, I think. Okay, but what they'll do is people like this is they'll push you and push you and push you till you stop. I can go look at the videos, but I still know what I'm talking about because I've seen this. I've been part of
Yeah.
this. But
Yeah.
they'll push you to the point where you finally respond. They're conveniently recording it so they have the evidence. Look how crazy she is. Look how crazy they are. Look what they did because you're getting pushed. Imagine being groomed since you were 14 years old. The affairs alone are emotionally and mentally abusive. Those alone, with anything else. So I can take a look at it. I don't have a problem watching the videos, and I will because whatever. But I can just tell you without even having seen them, that's how this. Because here's the thing: if you're truly crazy and you're trying to help the person that you love, you're not recording them.
There you go. There you go. Also, the very interesting thing about all of this, and again, this is public, you can go to YouTube, you can watch his past sermons. In 2024 alone, he has preached about personally dealing with things himself that in Mica's death he has said she deals with. So he has said that she was on lithium, that she was depressed, that she was suicidal. But if you back up a few months prior to this, he had a sermon where he was saying how he is the one dealing with all of this, how he took lithium, how he was diagnosed bipolar and schizophrenic, which, yes, he is diagnosed bipolar. How do I know that? You guys know how I know that. I know a lot that I don't share and that I will not share because my priority is this case, not social media. So anyway, backing up, he tells on himself all the time. And if you go back and look at those sermons, that is 100% confirmed. Also, yes, down here where it says, what about all of the slandering and stuff that he did to her publicly? No one wants to talk about that.
I mean,
But
I've
he did
talked
it
about
for
that.
years.
Unfortunately, though, there's nothing. I mean, her family. Well, that's so. I think, and I mean, you're in touch with people, so you know more than I do. But I don't see a world where a wrongful death suit isn't a civil suit. A wrongful death suit isn't filed against him.
No,
I don't
no.
see a world where that occurs.
I don't either, and I
It
hope that
doesn't.
does happen. But I also want to remind people that regardless of what happens legally from here, this man's life is never going to be the same. His family's life is never going to be the same.
Yep.
He will never be able to show his face in public without people knowing who he is and what he did.
Which is what all this is about. Because there's something. ADD moment. I got to come back. I got to tell you something real quick about the dad. So don't let me forget to tell you.
Okay.
But with this particular case, there's a bunch of things. There's a bunch with this. This goes far beyond Mica Miller and JP Miller. Okay, and obviously goes beyond the father and stuff like too. There's at least three different types of abuse that you're dealing with here. You're dealing with suicide awareness. You're dealing with domestic violence, emotional, physical, sexual abuse. You're dealing financial abuse. You're dealing with also abuse of the church and in the church, grooming. There's just so much that comes with this, which is why even though which we can come back and talk about the discrepancies and the surveillance video and all those things that are going on. We can talk about that in a second, but you know, even without those being there, if it was all true, everything was as it seems, Micah took her life. He might have pushed her to it, whatever. You still have all these other things that you need to bring awareness to. So that's why this is far from over. But that said, True Crime Mama reached out to me yesterday, and this happens sometimes because I have the bigger platform of a lot of these people. And apparently, one of the accused men, people he was getting ready to expose the dad in Pakistan, and he had this guy arrested for 7 days. And this whole church, they want to talk.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've now like been reached out to by them. So I might want to chat with you offline about that.
So I have already been in touch with them.
Okay.
Surprise, surprise. In the most
I'm
uncocky
not
way
surprised.
possible, by the way. Yes. So like I said, Mica is my number one focus, and that's our number one focus is getting justice for her. But like I said earlier, this case goes so much deeper. And people are coming at me from Pakistan, from other countries that are ready to expose Wade Miller as well, and the people that he deals with. So, yeah, I'm not surprised that you're getting messages and that you're getting people that want to expose him because it's long overdue.
It is, and I will tell you this. I know I've told you this before, but anytime you get something and you're like, "Hey, I really need to get this to a much bigger platform," I will have you on anytime you want. You just let me know.
Okay, awesome.
You know you're I mean you're growing. Your growth is exponential. I told you that you'd be where you're at before the end of the week.
It's so uncomfortable.
And I bet you, and I
So
bet you, if it keeps going
uncomfortable.
this route,
And I do,
by Sunday, 75 to 100,000.
I do try, like I try to read all the comments. Like
It's
I
impossible.
will block you if you are being disrespectful to Micah. I will remove hateful comments because my TikTok is no place for disrespectful conversation. I'm not going to remove you or block you for disagreeing, but I will remove you or block you from being disrespectful.
Yeah.
So just so people know, I see everything, I read everything. I may not be able to respond. Most of the time I don't respond because what you're sending me, I already know. But I don't want people to stop sending me tips. I don't want people to stop sending me evidence. If you have something that can be documented, I want it. But don't be offended if I don't respond because again, I have a lot that I already know and that I've already uncovered. And
Well, yeah.
I just may not respond, but it doesn't mean I haven't seen it and I don't appreciate it. So I want to let everyone know, like right now, that this is a group effort. This is not just me and the PI. This is me, the PI, God, and the internet, and ways that the internet can be used for good.
Real quick. Somebody made a good comment, and I should have told this too. You can block certain words. So if you wanted to filter the word crazy, for example, you can do that. Where
Okay, see,
people
I didn't
can't.
know that.
Yeah, I know, and I forgot about that. Real quick, for those of y'all who are asking, a couple quick housekeeping items. One is Kyler is very transparent. They went to high school with, or sorry, middle school with
Middle school.
Micah. Hasn't spoken to Micah in several years. I've literally never seen that gift. That's pretty awesome. Um, I have never seen it. That was super cool. But anyways, I haven't talked to them in years and just felt a calling to do this. The other thing, for those of y'all who are asking about YouTube, normally I don't put my lives on YouTube. This one I will do my best to put on YouTube. It depends on if TikTok will play nice with me or not. That being said, if you don't mind, because I know that you have kind of a hard stop in I think 30, right? So, or do
Yeah,
you? Okay.
yeah.
Um, can we talk about, like, and I know we have to be very careful with this. So words like allegedly and supposedly and based, our opinions, right? Not like we're saying as fact. Can we go down this rabbit hole in regard to the cars and the registration? And I know a lot of people are asking about the necklace. Can we go down this rabbit hole?
Yes, we can. So, oh, where do we even
I'm gonna
start?
probably take notes too. I know there's so much. I want to
I'm
take notes.
gonna,
I've been watching it, but I just want to. I'm gonna just take notes as I get it from you.
yeah, no, that's fine. I'm gonna pull up my Facebook, so I don't forget anything because it's all on there. Let's see. So, yes. And if this doesn't prove that I'm working with a private investigator, I don't know what will.
I really going to be disappointed if behind the scenes you don't have like a board like Charlie Day and it's always
So
sunny. Like if you don't have the.
you're the second person. One of my personal friends asked me that the other day, and I was like, no, I don't have that. It's all in my head because I have a photographic memory, so like I can remember like where everything is and stuff. I'm autistic, so I have superpowers like that, and so it's just all in here, and that's all I'll say about that. But
Well, real quick while you're doing that, people who are asking about following Kyler on Facebook, it's Kyler Marlowe. Very easy to find them. Yeah, they're putting
yeah,
it there. And I mean,
so,
I'm gonna say if you're into this case, just check her page like literally every couple hours because that's how
yeah.
often there's an update.
Yeah, that's my Facebook. I have a black and white headshot photo. All right, so this rabbit hole that I posted about yesterday was regarding the, gosh, let me go all the way down here because there's so many. So yes, the cars and the tags and everything. Screenshots are all on my Facebook and my TikTok, but I'll just go ahead and I'll just read it out for people that are here. All right. So in Robeson County's report, they stated that JP had an alibi in Charleston the day of her death. But did they do any cell phone pings? Did they check JP for weapon residue? Was he even questioned? None of these things have been brought to light, and if they were done, have not been mentioned, and I do not know of. I have no knowledge of whether or not any of that happened. We do know now, since posting this last night, that there was no autopsy done. There was no toxicology report ran. They did not check for water in her lungs. So there's a lot of things that should have been done that were not. And again, if you go back on my page and you see all the stuff about Robeson County's corruption, it all checks out and it all makes sense. So moving forward, I found some really interesting information that I've been working on the last few days, not only from public stuff and Operation Tarnished Badge, which is all public. You can go down your own rabbit hole on that, on the research. It's all out there. But I have also had people coming to me in droves from the Lumberton area, surrounding areas, about how they still see the corruption every day. And I 100% believe them. I do. These people are advocates just like myself, and you know, people, they just, I believe them. I do. So we've all heard by now that Mica paid car taxes on a vehicle that was registered to her and only her the day before her death. This is true and is on record. Again, screenshots are on my TikTok and my Facebook. They were past due from December of 2023, and we've all seen how Mica was struggling financially. You know, that was kind of well known among her friends and family at the time. So she didn't pay them till April. So the tag number for that car was WUP 747 with the VIN number ending in 7697 for a 2019 Honda Accord that was white in color. So why was this?
Was it white or lavender? Because I've heard lavender.
So it says lavender. It's possible that it looks like on the record that it might have been leased for like before she got it. So it could have been painted. Either way,
maybe it's a light lavender that the camera doesn't pick up, perhaps.
Maybe it's possible. And either way, it's not black, right?
Yeah,
like this car that she paid, the car that she paid taxes on, is not black. Sorry, I need to text back real quick. I'm good.
I just doubt that somebody would have a full paint job done on a 2019, you know?
Right,
So,
right.
but it could be like that very light purple that you can only, you know,
It could be. Yeah, it could be. So, so the car that she paid taxes on, was not black. Either way, it says lavender or it says white. It's not black. Here's where it gets really weird. So this tag number, WUP 747, matching the Honda Accord that is light in color. I'm not going to say white. It's light in color.
All right. It's not black.
It's not black. It's not black in color. was seen in Charlotte, North Carolina on May 1st at 440 Griffith Road, which is a Wyndham hotel. So, how does that make sense? Who's driving this car, first of all?
What date was that?
May 1st, it was seen in Charlotte.
Okay.
So, moving forward, a prior police report states that this car was taken away from Mica in March. So, who's currently driving that car? We don't know. Still digging on that one. Another police report does state that Mica had a black Honda Civic after this, but why don't the tag numbers match? There is also a police report stating that JP tried to go to her apartment 3 days after her death to get items out of it. So what was he trying to get out of her apartment?
We all know.
So there's also a traffic camera photo of his truck at her apartment building on March 20th, which is coincidentally the day that the healthcare power of attorney was filed. So that's suspicious. One, because it was signed in December of 2022, like a whole year and a half ago at this point.
Gotcha. So I was wondering about that. So he filed it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this lines up with everything I've been sharing about how she was involuntarily committed, because when someone has healthcare power of attorney, especially if there is corruption within the church, right? The people on the healthcare power of attorney are involved with the church. He can make all medical decisions for her. So also, it does not have to be filed to be legal. It is legal at the time of notarization. So this was filed in December of 2022. She was involuntarily committed after that. I don't remember the date right now, and I'm not going to guess because I don't want to get crucified.
It was February 8th.
Okay, yeah, of this year.
Because she did the report, I believe, on the 10th, and she said that because that's when she went to go get her car back at the Walmart parking lot, and it was gone, and it was a whole thing.
Right. Yes, that's true. So,
now I'll do the date. You don't have to, but I'll do the date.
Okay, cool. So moving forward. The black Honda Civic. So, in the Robeson County report, Robeson, I don't know how to say it yet. There's all kinds of stuff. In the law enforcement report, they show us a black Honda Civic with South Carolina tag number 301 AKH that they want us to believe is Mica's car traveling towards Lumber River State Park. So, this tag is expired, does not match a Honda Civic, and is not registered in her name. It is registered to a woman who is now deceased as a 2003 blue Chrysler Town and Country in, I think, Bluffton, South Carolina, if I'm not mistaken. Again, all of these screenshots are on my page, so you can go look at them. It's public record. However, in the same Robeson County report, they made sure to use the correct tag number for JP's truck, which is XIM865. But what they do not tell you is that this tag number was also picked up on a traffic camera on the 27th at exactly 12:30 p.m. on the Mark Clark Expressway in North Charleston heading out of town towards Mullins. So, the soccer games were over by 12:30 that day, that Saturday in North Charleston. And here's the thing. Yes, his truck was picked up at 2:22 in Myrtle Beach. He definitely could have been there at that time, but there is no proof that he was driving this vehicle. Just because you see someone's vehicle on the road with extremely dark tinted windows does not mean they were driving this vehicle. Also, his truck is registered to the church. It is not registered to him. So, yeah, of course, like, people can drive your car if it's registered to you, but it's even more likely that there are people that can drive this truck because it's registered to the church. He has over 29 vehicles in the church's name, because when you register a vehicle with a nonprofit organization, it is tax exempt. So he has not paid taxes on any of these vehicles. Also, what are you doing with 29 vehicles? Something illegal. Something. So,
let me ask, is there any proof to? Because I had heard a rumor that he was seen there because he bought like Olive Garden or something for everybody. But was this like the day before?
Yes. So he was in Charleston Friday night to Saturday morning with his girlfriend, his not girlfriend, his girlfriend. Friday
It's not
night,
girlfriend.
his not girlfriend. Um, on Friday night in Charleston, they went to Olive Garden for dinner, and he paid the bill. He was being very extra, like loud and making his presence known like a little bit extra than he normally does, which was weird, right? And the games were over Saturday at 12:30. So he's seen leaving Charleston at 12:30, which checks out. The 2:22 p.m. thing checks out in Myrtle Beach. But also what people are not talking about is that the way he left town, he was going through Mullins. That is not the fastest route to Myrtle Beach. And he could have made it to the state park around the time that 911 call was made as well. So there's a lot there, and there's still a lot that we're looking at.
So that was the
saying-
12:31 was headed towards Mullen, but the truck was picked up in Myrtle Beach at 2:22.
Correct.
Okay.
So, also the thing about Mica allegedly being in a Mullins gas station does not make sense either, because that is not the fastest route to that state park. It's totally ass backwards out of the way. But we'll get to that. So back to this can of worms. So the Robeson County report is very insistent that JP was with other people and had an alibi, and that he was in Charleston, right? But that's all they say. They don't tell you that he's seen leaving Charleston at 12:30. They don't tell you that just because his truck was picked up in Myrtle Beach at 2:22, that doesn't mean he was driving it. You can't see him driving it. They didn't do any cell phone pings. They don't have any photos of where he was. There's literally no proof that he has a solid alibi. None. And so, moving on, it's entirely possible that he could have been at the state park at that time. Also, if they are not telling us the whole story about Mica's vehicle and the tags, how can we believe anything else they're saying? That's how I feel. Also, you can see this for yourself too. Everything I'm saying is documented, right? Robeson County Sheriff's Department, their Facebook page, the timeline of events that they released, their posts, you can see edit history on Facebook. If you go to a Facebook post and you look at the 3 dots in the top right corner, you can see edit, you press view edit history, and you can see the amount of times that a Facebook post has been edited and what has been added and taken out. They have edited their Facebook posts 9 times, 9, since they posted it. And the photo of Mica looking up at the camera has been deleted. Why? That is suspicious as hell.
I got something for you that you might not have.
That is suspicious as hell.
I got something for you that you might not have noticed yet that was pointed out to me by a friend who's a 911 operator. Maybe you did notice, and I just haven't heard you say it or whatever because you know everything. But the police report where he calls to file a report that she was harassing him based on the abuse video and the text messages where they basically said there's no abuse here. Did you look at the timestamps on that?
Yes, I did.
How the small one line was entered like on the day of, I think, 3/27 or whatever it was, and the other one was 5/4. So I mean, I'm sure you know this, but for people who don't know. Now, here's the thing: this particular report, the way that was entered, this is actually in her favor, the way that it's done. But so the same friend. So there's another creator on here. She doesn't post a lot, but Ghostmore Girls, and Ghostmore Girls is a 911 operator dispatcher / the trainer of the dispatchers. So I've asked a lot of questions to her about the 911 call and how it's done. And we're assuming, look, and I'm usually very pragmatic and I'm like, no, it's not an AI call, but now I'm not like, I'm not saying it is, but I'm not saying it isn't. But I asked her the way this was handled, how was it done? And it was done despite what people want to think and say. It was done textbook perfect, honestly, the call was.
Yeah.
But she then noticed when I posted the police report, she was like, did you notice this? This is what this is. It's like every time that goes in, the officers have no choice on this. Like they can't edit it. It's the officer, the date, and the timestamp. It'll be right there whenever they do anything. So it's strange that like several days after her death that this was entered. It's just kind of odd. And she's like, maybe it was just because they knew it was starting to go really, really public and viral. So they wanted to have all their ducks in a row. I don't know, but I'm just
Also,
saying it's very odd. And if you have a theory on that, would love to hear it, obviously.
so I am in school for cybersecurity right now. I started in January, so I'm learning about the new technologies every day. It definitely sounds like it could be a fake call. I think it was either fake or she was coerced to say what she said. It's entirely possible that it was a fake call. But it's also possible that it was not. It is still possible that she did do this to herself, but either way, he's responsible. That's how I feel.
As Robbie Harvey said it, I think he put it so eloquently. At some point, we need to stop focusing on who pulled the trigger and why the trigger was pulled.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's exactly what we're doing at this point. Do we think, do our friends and people that I've spoken to that were close to her think she did this to herself? No. They don't. But it is still possible. And so going back, I see a lot of comments in here about the necklace, and I promise I'm going to cover that.
So I know I interrupted you and took you off track, so that's on me.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. So the first thing about the necklace, if you notice, in the pawn shop photos where she is at the counter, the pawn shop photos of her at the counter are not time-stamped, or if they were removed and re-uploaded without a timestamp. I cannot remember at this point. One of the photos of her at the counter, she has the necklace on. One of the other photos at the counter, she does not. And the receipt, yes, she could have pawned the necklace, but if you go back and look at her posts, she never takes that necklace off. That necklace is special to her for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know why she wore that necklace. But also on the receipt, there is no evidence of a pawn, none. So she did not pawn that necklace. But let's also talk about the fact that JP was wearing the necklace in one of his interviews a few days after her death. We learned last night on News Nation that her body was not released to him until April 30th. So if they were separated and Mica clearly did not want him around, which is in the video of him at the dealership when she called the police to get the tracker off her car because she found it when her car was flat, they were not speaking. They were separated. She wanted nothing to do with him. She was actively trying to get divorced. How did he get that necklace? If they had no encounters up until her death. She always wore that necklace. She never took it off from what I can see. I haven't had time to talk with close friends or family about that one yet, but what is apparent to me is that necklace never came off of her body. JP never had that necklace on in any sermons that I've seen. People have noticed that he didn't have a matching one at any point. So when and why did he get the necklace? And why is he wearing it now instead of...
Was the interview before or after the 30th?
It was after the 30th.
Okay, so they could have given it to her in her possessions.
That's possible. That is possible. But I think that video was released before the 30th. I think. I'd have to go.
His interview, you think, was done before? You think the interview was done before the 30th?
I believe it was. I would have to go back and look. But that's the whole thing is weird. I mean, the fact that it's in one photo and not the other. Also, if you look at the pawn shop photos that are supposedly the same day and how there's no necklace, there is one photo of her from a side profile where on the top of the register there is a candle, like a very obvious visible candle sitting on top of the register. And in the photos of her at the counter head on, there's no candle there. There's no candle anywhere to be seen. So also talking about the photos, there are tons and tons of people that are professional photo editors and photographers that have been debunking the timestamps on the photos. At this point, I do not believe that those photos were taken that day. I don't. That's my opinion. That's what I believe based on the research that I've done and the things that I've seen. I used to have a photography company myself. I use Photoshop myself, but I'm not as well versed in it as some others are. And I don't think that especially the gas station photo. So the gas station photo is the most interesting, I think, because the brand of camera that they apparently used for this screenshot or this screen grab does not have timestamps on them. Like you can research the camera brand. It's KAMI, Cami, on Amazon, and every single one that is on there, it will show you that brand does not have timestamps. So if that was even her car, if she even stopped there, I mean, also the license plate photo is not apparent in that one. There are so many holes in the story that it's funny because like I can put it together so easily, but there are people out there that will believe it, and that was exactly what they wanted. That's what I believe.
I mean, I think that most people, like for me, I try to be very pragmatic and not go down it, but then it's like these things come out. A lot of people, I'm sure you can see, are asking about the hand tattoo, but the other thing that I want to bring up too, which I saw pointed out yesterday, and I don't remember if it was you that did this or somebody else that did this. I don't think it was you, but showing in fact, it wasn't. I think it might be True Crime Nicole, showing in the background in the pictures that at one you can see a black Civic, but you also see what looks like a lavender Honda Accord, and then there's another picture where I think the one where she's walking in. I own a Ford truck. Okay, I have a Ford F-150. So I know what the front of a Ford F-150 looks like, and that looks like either the front of a Ford F-150 in the background or an older Tundra. Those are the only two vehicles that would look like that.
Yes, and the other thing about the cars involved in this, Mica filed a police report about how a white Honda had been following her, like that from when she found the tire. I don't know if it was. Oh, there's so many out there. There's so many police reports, but something about how a white Honda was following her. So.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna do a YouTube show and just go through all of the thing. Hold on a second. I want to respond to something. So I always love. Sometimes I like to call. So Kyler, sometimes I like to call out trolls. It's something that I just do. It makes me feel good about myself. Somebody goes, TikTok detectives. Well, first of all, what are you doing to help anything? We're talking about the case. We're bringing awareness to it. Kyler's doing, so she's got a PI involved. So it's not just a TikTok detective. They've got a real detective.
Yeah.
But the other thing too is, if you'd like, I can put you in touch with Joe Petito, and he can tell you what he thinks about social media and solving cases, if you'd like, because they found his daughter. So why don't you just shut the fuck up? That's all I gotta say. Just shut the fuck up. Oh my
gosh. Yeah.
Go do something productive with your life, and if you're gonna come after people, at least use a profile picture so you're not acting like a little wuss. I won't say another word, but I might get banned for that. But
oh, goodness.
Anyways, okay, continue. Sorry.
No, don't be sorry. So, all right, we talked about the timestamps, how the looking up at the camera was deleted. Where was I?
We were talking about the vehicles. You would think it's about the white Honda had been following her.
Yes. So Mica says herself in the police report that there was a white Honda following her, stalking her. And the only other thing I have to add to this is the Robeson County report said in their statement, and I quote, "The decision was based on surveillance footage, interviews, physical evidence, and the examination of the North Carolina Medical Examiner's Office. The same medical examiner that told the family they didn't do an autopsy, they didn't do a toxicology report, they didn't check for water in her lungs, and they didn't check her body for residue. So what the ever-loving hell determined that this was clear-cut, self-inflicted? Shit.
Oh, thank you for the help. The other thing that I want to point out about this, and I've not gone down this rabbit hole, you might have, and I'm not. Look, there are several offshoots to this case that we can go down. We can go down the path of JP's father. We can go down the path of Robeson County and this particular medical examiner. I am not there yet because I think the focus still needs to be on Mica at this moment in time. Will we get there? Yes, but it's not today. That being said, though, just a little bit of a teaser with this is I have had a few things sent to me that what seems to be very interesting in Robeson County or about this particular ME, Dr. I like to call him Dr. Dickie J. But Dr. Dickie J, apparently with women specifically, a lot of deaths, no matter what they might really be, he rules them as suicides.
Yeah.
Like a lot of them. Like there was one I was reading about, I don't have the facts, but like lots of wounds, lots of blood all over the house, and it was a brachial artery. They said he says in the thing below the elbow, so I'm thinking that way, but maybe they meant here, but maybe they meant the side, but it says below the elbow in the report. That they hit a brachial artery, and if they hit a brachial artery through the bottom below the elbow, that's a hard stab wound to do on yourself. But I mean, even here would be probably, I mean, I guess it wouldn't be that hard, but you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of reports like that.
Right.
So.
Yeah. So also, let's talk about body camera footage. Why don't we have it? In the Alex Murdaugh case, it was released
super fast.
Pretty quick, right? Why don't we have it? Where is it? What's on the body camera footage? I want to know. But we probably won't know. No.
Unless it gets closed out and you can do a freedom of information request. But then I would respect, I would say that they will basically tell you that, it accidentally got deleted or there isn't any.
Okay.
Now you got to tell us what you're munching on, though.
White cheddar Cheez-Its.
That sounds good. I got a whole thing of like
nuts
on
let me just say, when I tell you that I have been obsessed with this case and working like so hard, like I'm neglecting my self-care. Like I haven't been eating, I haven't been like sleeping well. Like I am so passionate about.
Take a shower. If you haven't been doing that, make sure you shower.
I do need to be better about it. What'd you say?
That if you haven't been doing, make sure to get a shower. You can get a thing off Amazon that you can put in your phone there to keep it waterproof, so you can still work while you're in there if you really feel like you have to.
Oh goodness.
What about they've asked about the tattoo a lot. I know you're running short on time. Do you want to address that?
Yeah, I have a little bit more time than I thought I did. I have an interview at 1, but I need to step out maybe like 15 minutes or so. But so moving forward, there's no body camera footage. It's also true, and it's somewhere floating around the internet sphere, that the medical examiner that was called in was not on the case and was not on call. So why'd you do that? What reason would you have to do that? Also, who has current possession of her black Honda Civic? Was it searched? Was anything else found in it except for what you want us to see on the picture in the front seat? Why aren't they talking about that? Where's the car? Who has the car? Did the tag number match what's on the traffic camera? All of these things that they don't want to talk about. If she did this to herself, this is still a shitty investigation, point blank. Like, this is not an investigation. This was a fabrication. This was not handled properly at all. And why? Is it because there's corruption in that county? Probably. That's how I feel about it.
Well, I mean, it's South. I hate to say it this way, but you've heard me talk about this and you've heard me make this comparison. Alec Murdaugh was South Carolina, and he was able to get away with things that he did for decades via SLED, via local PD. You're not that far in Myrtle Beach from that area.
No.
It's still, and especially even in North Carolina, even that part of North Carolina is not that far. I mean, again, people who think it's a completely different state, it's like right there. It's like how I live in Tennessee, but technically I can be in Kentucky in less than 30 minutes.
Yeah, you can get to the state park from parts of Myrtle Beach in an hour. Like it's not far at all. And it's just, the pieces are starting to fall into place. They really are. And I'm scrolling through my other updates to make sure I didn't miss anything. but I think we have it all covered up until now. Um,
She's gonna get to the tattoo, guys. I know y'all are excited about that. They're gonna get to the tattoo. Sorry, I try.
that's okay. I
Sometimes I
appreciate
forget.
that. I mean, at this point, most of the world is going to be misgendering me, and that's not my focus anyway. So,
Well,
but
I
I
know that,
appreciate
but I try to be respectful.
I appreciate that a lot. So the tattoo, yeah, the tattoo is not on her hand in the picture. Um, if it is, it's really hard to be seen. But again,
It's dark ink, though.
it's just like the necklace. I mean, the necklace is very clearly not there in the second photo. So that and the fact that oh, I saw something else in the comments that I wanted to talk about. Oh, the cremation. So I have not been able to confirm if she was actually cremated. I do not know the answer to that question yet. I am busy and looking into a lot of other things, and I did speak with the sister last night, but those are not questions I'm asking right now because that's not the focus. But I can assume based on, because the family did tell me themselves that they did get to see her. And this was several days ago, or the day after they got to see her body. So I can only assume that that would mean that she was cremated, because if JP demanded a cremation consent letter or whatever it's called, then we could assume that she was. But again, I don't know the answer to that, and if I do find out the answer to that, I'll be sure to post it. But
I would
one
hope not, because then that's going to take any chance of a second autopsy or anything like that away.
right. So that's exactly what he wants. But like, let's think about the fact that all of these things he's done after her death, like, an innocent person does not behave this way. An innocent person does not get cease and desist letters for the whole world. An innocent person does not demand cremation. An innocent person does not call up the family lawyer in a time of grief to try to get journals of evidence that she had against him. An innocent person does not go to his dead wife's apartment 3 days after her death to collect items. An innocent person does not get up less than 12 hours later in a pulpit in front of his church and preach a normal sermon and talk his wife about her mental illness and her death. Like, it blows my mind that there are people out there that still think this man had nothing to do with this. Blows my mind.
But there will be.
I'm not saying that he did this. I'm not saying that he physically pulled the trigger, but he is 100% responsible for her state of mind. 110% responsible.
I would agree fully with that statement, and I'll take it even a step further than you. I don't believe that there will be any criminal action regarding Mica's death. Now, could there be civil action? Yes. Do I believe there will be civil action? Yes. And what I mean by that is a wrongful death suit, meaning that if, depending on what is found in those journals that the family has, if they can prove abuse, distress, etc., then that can make him liable for a wrongful death suit. Now, the other things that I want to point out, because you also said an innocent person doesn't do this. You want to know what else an innocent person doesn't do? They don't hide their assets. They don't take their house and put it in the church's name. They don't take a bar that they have ownership stake in it and transfer it to their son's name. And any judge can see this and reverse this if it happens, if that's what it comes down to. But that is hiding assets. That is moving assets out of his name to protect them and into the church. That's what he's doing. So an innocent person doesn't do that. And I think people have asked me a lot, and people I'm sure have asked you, is he going to be charged with a crime? Obviously, I don't know the answer to that, but here's what I can tell you. This is putting a spotlight on him. It's putting a spotlight on his church. There's a lot of accusations floating out there about where does all this money go? Because when you have a bar, when you have a church, when you have a bunch of charities, those are all high cash flow. Okay? And with charities in particular, when you give to a charity, it doesn't mean 100% of your money goes to help whatever that charity is for. So he's got a charity we'll use the school one that he's got, the one that he put in Micah's obituary. Which, by the way, cannot stress this enough. There's a GoFundMe. I know Kyler has the GoFundMe for the family. If you want to donate something for Mica and for the family, do not, and I repeat, cannot stress enough, do not donate to the charity in her obituary that is run by the church, that is putting money into his pocket. Kyler has on their page, the Facebook, and if you want to send that to me, I'll put it on the YouTube when I do this later. But just to let you know that but all of those things, like they can make for every dollar, 10 cents of it goes to this church, and 90% goes into 90 cents goes into administration fees. That's still part of 1099, or not, sorry, the 503c or whatever that he's got, not 1099. And that can still be part of it. So I'm just saying that there's a lot. If there becomes a federal investigation, which, by the way, you can't pay off federal. That's what got Alec Murdaugh caught, was the federal side of things, all the shit he was doing with money. If it becomes a federal, investigation into whatever's going on with finances, then he's done.
Yeah.
He's done.
Yeah, and I mean, it's there's no way at this point, with the amount of attention this case has gotten, that's not going to happen. And all of this stuff with the church money and everything, like, this is where it starts to go to so much bigger than just Micah's death. This is where it starts to, the line starts to blur in between him and his dad and all his dad's business associates and everything. Like, there is so much information out there that is public, right? And I talked a little bit about this the other day. I don't know if it was with you or someone else, but Wayne Miller has charges. He has criminal history too. The people that he is pictured with in photos circulating around social media have criminal charges. This man is known for sexually assaulting children. He and his buddy, his roommate, that do live in Myrtle Beach. There are people there was an entire scandal in Pakistan with JP's dad. It's all public. Just Google Reginald Wayne Miller and it'll come up. Go to YouTube and type in Reginald Wayne Miller, Pakistan. There are children on video on YouTube talking about the abuse this man put them through and how he is not welcome in Pakistan anymore.
He's got actively wanted charges, doesn't he?
Yes.
Like, he's wanted there.
Yes. So this is a family business. The abuse is family business. The dirty money is family business. I have a lot of information on that stuff that I can't share yet, but it's gonna come out. It's gonna come out. That's all I can say.
Well, yeah, I'm ready for it. So I'm ready
for all of them to never be able to touch another child ever again. That's what I'm ready for.
And real quick, for those of you who've been coming in late, I don't normally upload my lives to YouTube, but as long as TikTok plays nice, I'm going to upload this to YouTube whenever we're done. So anybody who's missed anything, I know I see a lot of people re-asking about the necklace, re-asking about timestamps. We've already talked about that, so that will be on here when we upload it. So just so y'all are aware.
Yes. But I think that about covers everything so far, unless I could do like 5 minutes of questions probably, and then need to hop off. But
hey, I'm just gonna give it to you then real quick, because I mean this chat's going so quick that
it is. I see something about the railroad tracks. So yeah, there are ways to pull camera captures from railroad track. Every single railroad track has a camera, so it detects motion just like traffic cameras. We are working on that. We have been working on that since yesterday. We're looking into that. I'm teaming up with a lot of really great people that have access to that kind of stuff. So we are looking into that. We did look into the plane. If most of if you've been following me on Facebook and stuff, that JP preached about 7 or 8 weeks ago now in a sermon about how someone was going to donate a private plane to the church. And that is true. That is also public record. We were able to uncover that last night with the help of some really great anonymous people. It's online. I mean, if you go to the FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration website, and you type in Solid Rock Ministries, you can see that a plane was sold to the church on April 23rd or 24th. I don't know, but I mean, it's on there. Do your research. That is true. There is a plane. There's all kinds of stuff registered to that church.
But if I may, real quick, the plane, y'all, this isn't like, flying like a G6 or something like that. This is, I mean, it's there. This plane could not make it out of the country. I mean, it would have to stop. The closest it could do is get to Miami and possibly Cuba. That'd be the possibly, and even then, that would be a stretch.
Yeah. So, and we were looking into the theory of, maybe someone flew a plane with her body, and we were looking into that, but it's not likely, simply because the plane has not left Atlanta since April 4th. Flight plans indicate that it hasn't been flown since then. So that is a theory that we're still looking into, unless it was flown illegally, which is completely possible. But I mean, if you have enough money, you can do anything. But
even
yeah.
Diddy couldn't hide those records. So if he couldn't, I would find that unlikely.
Yeah.
Because Diddy's got money.
Yeah.
So.
For sure. So let me see what else. What other kind of questions am I seeing in here?
While you're reading with Kyler's name on Facebook, it's Kyler Marlowe, black and white picture. And I mean, when you find their page, you'll know. You'll know.
Yeah. Oh, the couple. So we already talked about the necklace and stuff and the tattoo. It'll be uploaded later.
YouTube, yeah.
But yeah, so the fisherman and the couple that apparently found her, I really want to encourage people not to believe everything they hear on social media. And I know that's comical coming from me because I'm on social media, but again, I only post the facts, I only post evidence. And these people did not personally know Mica. They did not have any personal connections to her friends and family, and I do. So I don't really buy the whole fisherman couple story. I think it's very possible that, they could have been paid off, because there are also a lot of holes in that story.
Where that he would take her stuff and not leave it. I mean,
Right.
I guess her stuff's right there, but not close to the body. You heard a gunshot, you would think that you would leave it there and call the police.
Right.
What was he going to do with it otherwise?
Right. There's a lot of stuff that doesn't make sense there. And I just don't believe it. I don't. I mean, the truth will come out. It will. It always does. But
what about I know the answer to this, but for the people who don't, what about the parks and the cameras in the parks?
Yeah, so we are still trying to determine if they are operational and working. From what we have been told by reliable sources, they were working recently, so it's possible that they are still in operation, but we can't confirm or deny that yet, but we will be able to pretty soon. We already discussed how the ex-wife did come forward about helping the family. That is true. It was on the news last night that she's cooperating with the family to expose JP's abuse. So now we probably know why she's been so quiet.
Good for
we
her.
already talked about the necklace and the tattoo. But yeah, if going back to the cameras in the park, if it's a national park, it's very likely that there are cameras that are operational. I've got about 1 more minute for questions, and then I got to hop off of here. But
I mean, I so appreciate you taking the time.
Let's also talk about the fact that in the fisherman video, you can hear all kinds of nature sounds right around you, because it's a state park. It's a very remote area. It's the middle of spring. There's a lot of noise, right? And there was no background noise in that 911 call, which to me kind of points more towards it was fake or it was recorded previously. Also, the gas station is open. I have friends that live out that way, that have driven by themselves, that have shown me that it's open. I don't know why it says that it's closed online, but it's not. Also, the church is open as well, but I think they probably put that on Google so they wouldn't get any more reviews. Um, Nobody has been able to speak with Mica's ex, her first husband. I don't really blame him. I don't think that, he probably doesn't want to speak yet. Um, I don't know who has her phone. Don't know why they didn't do any kind of like cell phone pings or anything. As far as I know, there is no current open investigation from law enforcement other than the private investigator that I'm working with.
They probably didn't go through her phone either, and he probably has it. So
Right. Also, the phone, the time discrepancy. I'm glad someone put that in there because I was gonna forget. The picture of her phone, if it's even her phone, we don't know that it's her phone. There's no proof. In the top left corner, it says 2:40 p.m. Right? There's no way that if they found her phone after she called that it would say 2:40 p.m. That doesn't make sense either. So there's a lot of holes in this story that are suggesting that things did not happen the way that they're telling us it did.
yeah, there are some. That's why I went from, and my wife even too. We both again try to be pretty logical, pretty pragmatic people. And for the last few days after we found out everything came out, we saw the pictures, we saw all of this. Heard the call. We're like, all right, well, she did it. That doesn't mean he's not responsible, but she did it. But then now, as of like yesterday, we're back at like, well, maybe she didn't. And
Right.
because I try to, it's one thing to find like, when first this was coming out, people were asking me about the tattoo. I'm like, well, maybe it's mirrored, maybe it's the quality of the camera didn't pick it up, whatever the case is. But it's hard to explain that and the 100 other things and be like, okay, here's a logical explanation for that. I can't. I
No.
can't come up with that
Mm-mm.
and give you a logical explanation, not for that many things.
No. No. And there's also talk about the weapon case. It is very possible that the picture of the weapon case it was just flipped on its front because the type of weapon she purchased, the case only has the logo on one side. Um, the lighting could have been different. I mean, it's possible that it's still the same case, but it's also possible that it wasn't. Um, but yeah, it's really and the most I think the most telling thing about all of this is that Mica posted videos herself, right, of alluding to what was going on without going into detail, and she was such a beautiful, decent person that she never even named him. Like people close to her knew what was going on and knew that she was being abused and had been abused. Um, Also, the thing about the weapon, too, and this is not something that people have really talked about, is that is not the type of weapon that you use if you want to delete yourself, right? That is the type of weapon that you
Self-induced.
buy for protection. Um, Also, the amount of ammo purchased, like that doesn't add up either.
Where was the ammo purchase? It wasn't at the pawn shop, I don't believe, or was it?
Yeah, it's on the receipt.
Okay, I missed that then.
Yeah, the receipt has the weapon and the ammunition, but it does not have any kind of pawn for a necklace or pawn for anything. Also, she was struggling financially. She had just paid her car taxes the day before. And they were 4 months late. She had just paid a divorce lawyer. I mean, she was struggling for money. And the fact that, she would have bought that kind of weapon for that purpose doesn't make sense to me either.
Let me add this to it too, as somebody who not an expert by any means, but a Sig Sauer is a nice, as far as gun, firearms go, it's a nice firearm. It's going to be expensive even in a pawn shop. Um, she could have gone for a Ruger, which is much cheaper, or something like a Kel-Tec, which is really cheap. There are other options for firearms that she could have gone if it was going to be a one-time use thing. But SIGs are a high quality weapon. So that, and I really I had first kind of accused, well, maybe it was the best deal they had in the store, but I highly doubt it. not in South Carolina, not in, or, not in that area. There's going to be a lot of firearms there, but yeah, they're expensive.
Hmm. I mean, the receipt, you can see that the weapon was like $500, something like that.
Yeah, which would I think would be a good deal for that. So the first weapon that I ever purchased, I turned 21. I bought a 9mm for protection safety, and it was a Ruger. And back in that would have been what year? Like 2003. I spent like $295 on it or something like that, and that was a cheaper weapon. That was like one of the cheapest ones I could find. So $500 would be a phenomenal deal, I think, on a SIG.
Yeah. Yeah, and and we talked about the timestamps too. Like there are no timestamps in the photo of her at the counter. As far as it not looking like her, I think they did a good job. If the pictures are fabricated, I think they did a good job of making it a little bit believable. Because she was dealing with a lot. She had bags under her eyes. She was she had just gotten breast surgery, so it's very possible that it was her, but I don't believe that it was that day. I think that she went in and got it for protection before that day. And if it was her, if it's not her, there's no way to know. But again, we talked a little bit about Photoshop and editing photos and everything, and there are a lot of things in that photo, and those photos of her at the counter especially, that just don't look right. And you guys can do your own research on that, but yeah.
In the clothing.
Also, yes, what about her testimony in Kenya? As someone who has dealt with suicidal ideation and a
Self-unaliving.
Huh?
Self-unaliving.
Yeah, that
So
just because I have dealt with that in the past doesn't mean that I am now. And it's entirely possible that she did feel those things back then, but that doesn't mean she did now. And I say that from personal experience.
And here's what I'll say, because I know you have to go. For people who are asking, first of all, follow Kyler if you don't. And for those of y'all asking who they are, when it comes to this case, they are the GOAT. That is who they are. So if this is where, like, as creators on this app, this is where most of it, Kyler's where we get like 90% of our information, if not more, on this case. So make sure you follow them. You can, obviously hit, you see right there, you can hit that. But also it's Kyler Marlowe on with an E at the end of it on Facebook. So give a follow there. But yeah, that's the answer to the question. For those of you asking, what's my YouTube is the same name on here because I'm not very creative. It's Justin on TikTok, but the easiest way to find it, if you go to the link in my bio, which is justinontiktok.com, scroll under my picture, right under my stupid face to the left, far left is the TikTok. Oh, sorry, the YouTube. It's all my socials, but the YouTube one is far right. Yeah. So yes, that's where you can find it. And I'm going to try to get this up as soon as we get off. Downloaded. It'll take, assuming TikTok's not being wonky, it should be a few minutes.
Perfect. Oh.
You got a gift.
All right. Thank you for having me on again.
No, thank you so much for coming on and spending the time. I feel much more caught up now. And I feel like even after this live, I'm still going to do like another YouTube show showing some of the stuff. And
yeah, I really appreciate your effort in gathering the facts, and not just, speculation and reposting random stuff that
I don't do speculation.
Some other creators are. I appreciate that as well on your end. So
absolutely. Well, like I said, my platform is open to you whenever you need it. Just let me know.
Awesome. Thank you.
You guys have a great day. I will see y'all shortly.
Bye, guys.
Bye.